Good morning. I'm Sandy Moore, and I'll be your online worship leader today. During the service, we recommend you have your Zoom screen set to speaker view. Common Ground is our celebration of worship for people of many paths in the responsible search for meaning and truth. Pathways is a warm and open community where all who come with open minds and kind hearts are welcome, regardless of ability, age, race, gender identity, or sexual orientation. If you're visiting with us today, we welcome you to our virtual service and hope you'll visit us in person when we can be together again. We hope that all who join us today find this a safe online place to worship. Our first hymn is Come and Go With Me, an African-American spiritual. The lyrics express a Christian believer's expectation of a better life after this mortal one. We've included it today in our service for another level of meaning. Healing the deep divide in our country today will necessitate working together. Stand up if you like, and let's enjoy Come and Go With Me.
Come and go
As we virtually light our chalice this morning, please join me in these words. We are all flames. When we gather hand in hand in our church, in our community, in our nation, we inspire, we celebrate, we come together, sharing our light of hope for our shared future. I invite you now to join me in a renewal of our sacred promises. Please read along with me. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our call to worship today is adapted from words by Katie Kandarian Morris. All of us in our Zoom windows gathered together this morning have created this sacred space. We're quieter now with our readiness, hushed voices, hoping, trusting for so many things, for connection and communion, for inspiration and information, for healing and wholeness, for words and music, for celebration and consolation. Here we have come into this space, bringing all of who we are. Come, let us worship together. Our worship song today is by Emma's Revolution, the duo of award-winning activist musicians Pat Humphreys and Sandy O. They're described on their Facebook page as like Rachel Maddow and John Stewart with guitars. And now, as we all remain muted, please feel free just to listen or sing along with Emma's Revolution, singing Better Days, as we visualize better days ahead for our country.
We have come in the light to this place, in the light with our hearts, in the light open wide. We are here in the light giving voice, in the light to the truth, in the light we divine. Let us sing. Let us learn better ways, showing love in the light, giving hope in the light we create, in the light better days. We are born in the dark, we are fed in the dark, we connect in the dark through the veil. We are held in the dark, we are healed in the dark, mysteries in the dark we reveal. Let us sing for today, let us learn better ways, showing now. We begin where we are. We begin, we have all. We begin that we need to renew. We begin to release. We begin to rebuild. We begin to believe. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days.
Sister Dorothy Eggering returns to our virtual Pathways pulpit today. Her sermon today is titled Healing a Fractured Nation. Sister Dorothy has served as a high school science and math teacher, a pastoral minister, an administrative assistant, as well as a workshop presenter on various topics. She holds a certificate from Heart Path's DFW Spiritual Formation Program and currently ministers as a spiritual director. Now I'd like to welcome Sister Dorothy Eggering to our virtual pulpit.
Hello again. I think some of you may recognize me as having been with you before, and you may remember that I am a Catholic nun, and I have various experience in high school, in churches, and now as a spiritual director and also working with Heart Paths. And the part of the service today that I'm doing is largely based on a prayer by Reverend Elizabeth Keaton, an Episcopal priest in the Diocese of Newark and the national convener of the Episcopal Women's Convention. She was recently elected to a 3-year term on the National Board for the Religious Coalition of Reproductive Rights. And here's your DNA. And my DNA is Catholic from both sides of my family. But I have to tell you, I really feel always at home here at Pathways. Been to your church several times giving presentations. And I just feel so at home because you're so welcoming, so hospitable, and because of your DNA, your core values, which you see here. And I have to tell you, I resonate strongly with each of your core values, as well as your core convictions and the principles that we read together this morning. So together, we recognize that there are many paths and our strength is working together. Yep, the nation is sorely divided now, isn't it? And it's not just politically in our own country, but with many other nations. And besides that, we're divided on racial issues, on science, gender, immigration, even climate. We have division in our neighborhoods, homeowners associations, families, with our spouses, our exes, sometimes with siblings and even parents. The list goes on. We are indeed divided and in need of healing. Reverend Anderson, a senior co-minister of the First Unitarian Church of Rochester, has some good reminders here for our healing process. And I especially like that second one, that no relationship gets mended until we grant others the same grace we grant ourselves. Her comments ring true to me. How about you? Yes, this country is more divided than it has been since the Civil War. Half of us are rejoicing, while the other half are stunned, sore afraid, even angry. Yes, it's true. We're surely a united, divided states. And we recognize headlines like these that are in the news every day. Political theories, Americans divided every day. Yes, love one another. That is surely a call to radical hospitality. And I like what Sister Joan Chittister urges, that we make love one another as I have loved you, the foundation of our national respect. Also, the standard of national discernment. So let us make love one another the bedrock of both our personal relationships and civilized society. And while we feel this defeat, at least some of us, we need to heal. And healing means to open our hearts to the reality that we're not the only people who are hurt or lonely or angry or frustrated or fearful. God, help us to put aside our own feelings in the service of others, our families and friends, and our neighbors, both here and around the world. And help us to be agents of reconciliation, of love and peace, healing and hope in the midst of fear, hatred, and brokenness. And let us have the wisdom to lovingly have the conversations we need to have with each other, that we must have with each other in order to grow in faith and love and inclusion. Yes, help us to rebuild this nation by seeking out your image in the face of others. And as Rachel Raymond recommends in her kitchen table wisdom, the healing of our present woundedness may lie in recognizing our capacity that we all have to heal each other. The enormous power we have in the simplest of our human relationships, in a touch, in the blessing of forgiveness, and in the grace of someone taking you just as you are and finding in you an unsuspected goodness. Remembering that perfect love casts out fear, help us to perfect that love by reaching out in goodwill to those of different races or creed or orientation, political bent, and by reaching out and getting to know those who are different from ourselves. Yes, we are your people, and you know us by many names. And we know you by many names: goddess, human potential, spirit, energy, the divine. And though our spiritual vocabularies may be different, we recognize the sacred in each of us. May we find strength in our diversity and seek the courage to live into what is written on every piece of our currency in this nation. In God we trust, because we recognize that all people have inherent worth and dignity, and we can reflect together on those values that we do hold in common and look for areas of compromise. For it's only in you that we can live in safety, only in you that we find justice and peace. My prayer for you all, for us, is that each one of us will go forward today committed to service to our nation with renewed hope, and by making a specific resolution of how we will make a difference to bring healing to our fractured nation, beginning here at home, with family, with friends, neighbors, and with those we disagree with. And let us now pray this prayer together. God of all, ignite us with the fire of your love. Inflame our hearts with courage to embrace the dialogue that transforms and truth that frees. Kindle our love with kindness to heal divisions and reconcile relationships. Light our imaginations with insight to envision and create a world where all are one. Stir our actions with justice and peace to engage critical concerns and cherish all of life.
Thank you, Sister Dorothy. Our closing song for today is Let Peace Begin With Me by the Harlem Street Boys Choir. That song was a prayer in itself. Now, as we extinguish our virtual chalice flame, please read with me these words by Brian Keeley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place, and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. We hope that each of you, on your individual path through the joys and questions of life, found some common ground with your virtual fellow travelers today. May I remember in this tender moment that love is my guide always, shepherding me toward ways of openness and compassion. Just when the weight of the world I inhabit threatens to drop me in place and press my hope down into the ground beneath me, love invites me to rest for a gentle while and leads the center of my soul to the quiet, still, restoring waters nearby that somehow I had not noticed. And so, love quietly sets me once again on its tender and demanding path. Blessed be, and go in peace. And thanks again, Sister Dorothy, and all of you who joined our Zoom service today. Now, everyone feel free to unmute and stick around for a few minutes to visit. And on this same link at 11:30, our congregational meeting will begin.